Hey everybody, welcome to another chapter of the Book of Sean. It is good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. We have an amazing show for you tonight. I know I say that almost every night, but almost every night it's amazing. So I don't actually lie when I say it. But tonight's show is special. We got a lot of ground to cover with our headlines, and I asked Dr. Sean. And my brother Boyo is here. Listen, he's got a story. Look at him with the big smile. Look at him with the big smile, cheesing. He has an interesting journey. Because one of the things we're going to try to figure out tonight is, what do you do when what you had planned is not how life is working out, right? When you had a thought in your head and you were on, not just a thought, you were on the way, you were on the path, on the journey, and it doesn't seem like you're going to get there. How do you live with that? How do you let go of that? How do you overcome that? How do you still find joy every morning when you're not where you want to be or doing what you want to do? You know that's going to be good. And my brother is wrestling with that. And I hope tonight to, if I can't give him sound direction, to at least give him sound inspiration to make him want to keep fighting a good fight. We got a great show for you tonight. I'm glad you're here. Get settled. Take your shoes off, all right? Get your little pie. Get you something to drink. Whatever your favorite beverage is. No judgment. Whatever it is. Grab it and let's ride this donkey. Play the bumper, Hailey. So by now, all of us have heard of the 18-year-old white man who opened fire on black people at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. The gunman, Peyton Grindron, was heavily armed and wearing tactical gear when he emerged from his car and shot 4 people in the parking lot. He then went on to enter into the grocery store and continued shooting, exchanging fire with a security guard who was also tragically killed. And when he was done with his racist and bigoted rampage, 10 people were dead, while he himself was ironically safely taken into custody after threatening to shoot himself. And apparently he left behind a so-called manifesto, emphasis on so-called manifesto. And I really believe we have to stop calling these things manifestos, in which he said that he planned to continue to shoot and kill more black people. Several media reports said that the gunman was motivated by replacement theory. And once again, innocent black people have lost their lives because a white supremacist is too insecure to compete in a world where he does not have the upper hand. Today we send our condolences and prayers to the families and victims of this horrific tragedy. Innocent people went to the store on Saturday, and too many of them never came home. And they never came home because somebody was a bigot and a racist. And over again, black and brown people have to deal with the psychological and moral and ethical defects of white supremacy. These people died for one reason only, because they were black. And the next time somebody tells you in America that racism doesn't exist and that you guys need to stop with this critical race theory and you guys need to know, you remind them of what happened in Buffalo, when 10 people lost their lives because they were black and shopping, and a white man who believes that he's going to be replaced by people who are not actually trying to replace him because he's nothing to want to replace. Who is he that he should be replaced? He decided to kill them. You know, listen, yes, these folks were black. Yes, this was a bigoted attack and a racist attack. But here's the thing. If you can't go to a store in America and be safe, then everybody should be concerned about that. Not just black and brown people. If we're getting to the place where you can't even go to a store, you can't go to a church without being shot, all of us could be concerned about that. And while the Supreme Court is off telling women they have to have babies, the Court of Appeals in California are handing semi-automatic rifles to 18-year-olds. I'll never understand how you can hate somebody without knowing them. I simply will never understand how you can hate somebody without knowing them. I will never understand racism and bigotry. Maybe I'm not supposed to understand it, and maybe you're not supposed to understand it either. But here's the one thing I do know we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make sure it stops. Because 10 people went to the store on Saturday, and they were just going to get what they needed to survive and to live, and none of them came home. And that's a problem. It's also America. Let's move on. Let's talk about Mitch McConnell. Oh, Mitch McConnell. So Senator Mitch McConnell and a delegation of Republican senators met with the Ukrainian President Zelensky during an unannounced visit visit to the Ukraine on Saturday to show support for Ukrainian resistance. The trip came at a time when the Senate was working to approve a major billion-dollar support package for the Ukraine. But I find it ironic that Senator McConnell and these Republicans who went to the Ukraine went halfway around the world to support the fight for democracy because they believe in democracy in Europe, but they're still not willing to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act in America. And it's so ironic to me that you can go to Europe to support democracy, but you won't support democracy and freedom in your own country. You want them to have the right to vote and to have self-determination, but you don't want people in Florida and in Texas and in Kentucky to have it? How can freedom mean more to you in Europe than it means literally in your own backyard? You know, the American people will deal with a lot of things. Boyo, tell me what you think about this. The American people will deal with a lot of things, right? The American people will support you if you fail. The American people will support you if you make a mistake. The American people will support you if you make a fool out of yourself. The American people will support you. But one of the things that I've learned that the American people will not support is a hypocrite. Americans will not support you if you are a hypocrite. If you say one thing and then do something else, that's where you lose the American public. And the Republicans are being hypocrites over and over and over again. Saying one thing and doing something else. How are you going to go to Europe and say you love democracy? And then you won't support democracy in the United States Senate by passing a law that will help people vote. By passing a law to help people vote who for 400 years were denied access to the right to vote and humanity. Huh? And yet all of a sudden you care about humanity and justice and all of that in Europe. It's unacceptable. I think that we have the right to ask our leaders to be consistent. If you're going to support freedom over there, then support it here. If you're going to support democracy over there, then support it over here. Just be consistent. As a matter of fact, you can consistently be against what I believe. I'm okay with that as long as you're consistent. But don't support me on Monday and then hate me on Wednesday and then vote against me on Thursday and then want to run to me on Friday. And I'm confused. I don't know what to do. Should I hug you? I don't know. Should I pour some hot drink on you? I don't know what to do. I can respect you when you're consistent. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather have a consistent enemy than a sometimey friend. We have a right to ask our leaders to be consistent. And listen, none of the legislation that the African Americans care about, none of the legislation that we care about was able to pass in the United States Congress because of all these people, literally because of all these people who just went to Europe to tell Zelensky how much they care about democracy. We couldn't get the legislation that we care about because these people wouldn't let it pass. And now they're in Europe talking about how much they love democracy. Yeah, I get it. You love freedom and democracy somewhere else. As long as it doesn't cost you power. As long as you don't have to lose anything, you love freedom and democracy. But when it costs you something, that's when you don't love it that much. And that's how I know you don't love it at all. I said it. Anyway, let me do one more. Actually, two more. Let's talk about the iPod real quick, all right? Listen, everybody. Boyo, this is for you too, all right? The iPod is gone. The iPod is dead, people. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. The Lord giveth and now the Lord taketh away. And some of you watching right now, you don't even know what an iPod is, right? You have no idea what an iPod is. But Apple has announced that they will officially no longer make the iPod, I think as of May 10th, right? All right? And some of us remember the iPod. Again, some of us don't because technology has moved that fast, right? Now we're all about the phone. But there was a time, people, when all we had was the iPod. That's all we had. That was like a big deal. The iPod, you know? It just goes to show you that everything changes. And now the iPod is going to be a permanent fixture on the ash heap of history. One of the bleached bones on the beaches of things we don't use anymore. The iPod is dead, people, all right? And life is always moving. That's why I wanted to do this story, because life is always moving. And just like life moved past the iPod, it's going to move past something else in your life too. And you can't be resentful of it. It's going to happen. What happens today is not going to happen forever. And don't be so entrenched on what you're doing right now that you can't adjust, that you can't lean with it and rock with it and go with the changes. You follow me? You got to be able to change. You got to be able to grow. All right? Because everything will change. What does the scripture say? There's a time and a season for everything under the sun. A time to reap and a time to sow. A time to get and a time to lose. A time for the iPod, a time for the iPod to be gone. It's just the way of things. Don't take it personal. When things change on you, don't take it personal. Life ain't out to get you or to curse you. It's just how it works. Everything changes. And if you don't change with it, you're going to go the way of the iPod. You're going to be discontinued, people. You feel what I'm trying to say to you? In fact, change is life's great compliment. It's life's way of saying that you're ready for more. See, imagine if we had never progressed past the iPod and we never got to the iPhone. Can you imagine what our lives would be if we had never gotten to the iPhone? Can you imagine what would we do without Uber Eats? what would I do without Postmates? You know what I'm saying? What would I do without being able to order food on my phone? I mean, come on, man. Thank God we got past the iPad and we got to the iPhone and all of the wonderful apps where we can do all this great stuff. Because if you keep going, you will discover that even though you had to lose something, you gain more than you lost. I'm doing my good preaching today, Boyo. Anyway, let me just say this to you. Technology and life are all wrapped up in the same bundle of transformation. Let it happen. Don't resent it. And learn how to make it work for you. Here's my last one before I talk to my guests. You ready? All right, let's talk about the Urban League real quick. I don't normally talk about civil rights organizations, but I'm going to talk about one today because I found this report interesting, and I'm about to tell you why. So the National Urban League released an annual equity index, which compares how black Americans are doing in comparison to our white counterparts. Now listen to this. This year, the index shows that black people only get 73% of what white people enjoy, which is not much different than what we were getting in 2005. Now, the index shows that while we make gains in areas such as economics and healthcare circumstances, it also shows that in areas like social justice and civic engagement, black people have lost ground. But I found the whole idea of black people getting 73% less of what white people get to be rather curious and interesting. I think that's a rather curious proposition, and let me tell you why. Okay? I'm not entirely sure what that means. Like, what does it mean to blanketly say that black people get 73% of what our counterparts get? And I read the report, by the way, and it blanketly says that black people get 73% of what our white counterparts get. Now, I'm not a dummy, okay? So I know what that means in terms of wages. I know what that means in terms of economic opportunities. I know what that means in terms of access to voting. I'm not a dummy. I know what it means in certain cases. But the report says blanketly that African Americans get 73% of what our white counterparts get. And that's the part that I don't understand. And I'll tell you why I don't understand that. So does that mean that if white people have 100% of a certain kind of happiness, that black people only have 73% of the same kind of happiness? What does that mean? I mean, I can understand what the index is saying in specific cases, like wages and education and reading, right? I understand that. But to blanketly say that black people get 73% of what our white counterparts get, what does that mean? So does that mean that I'm 27% less happier than my white friends? Does that mean that my relationship means 27% less to me than white folks' relationship? Or that my kids are 27% less valuable to me or important to me than white folks' kids? What does that mean? Can you tell me what that means? Come on, people, tell me what it means. I know what it means in specific cases, but generally speaking, blanketly, as a blanket statement, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I'm not taking exception to the index, because I think the Urban League does great work. But here's what I'm really saying. When it comes to matters of the heart, when it comes to soulfulness, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to character and integrity and boldness and courage, when it comes to standing for what you believe, when it comes to lifting your head up, when it comes to putting your life back together when life has crushed you down on the floor, I can keep going. When it comes to being strong, when it comes to having faith in the night season of your life, let me assure you that black people ain't 73% of nobody. Huh? We ain't 73% of nobody. You can't compare what we do in those critical situations to anybody else. And maybe we should stop comparing our happiness and our joy to other people to begin with. Because when it comes to real joy and real growth and real courage and real commitment to democracy, we have always been and we will always be and we continue to be 100%. Don't play with me. Let's take a break. We'll be right back after this. My guest tonight represents so many of us who believed in something for a long time and purposed himself to accomplish it and to do it. The problem is that sometimes life doesn't always line up to what we purpose. And sometimes the dreams that we have can disappoint us bitterly. And sometimes we wish that we had never dreamed at all. You ever had that feeling? You just wish you had just listen. I wish I had never fallen in love with the thing I was trying to do. Boyo, that's his journey. And tonight I can't wait to listen to his heart. And I hope tonight to inspire him and to encourage him to radical acceptance. Yeah, let's see how this turns out. Boyo, welcome to the show tonight. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure to have you. I love your smile. I love your energy. I'm grateful that you're here. So relax, okay? You're in good hands. You're just talking to me. It's just me and you talking, all right? We're gonna talk like we two cousins just sitting around at the family reunion off to the side. And I'm your favorite cousin. And as your favorite cousin, I'm gonna ask you this question. So you wanted to go to the NFL, right? You wanted to be a professional football player in the NFL.
That's correct.
How do you feel about the fact? Just give me a feeling. How do you feel about the fact that it didn't happen for you?
The overall feeling, you feel a little down. You feel you got to live with it though, but you feel down. You live with that downness on the back burner every day.
Yeah.
Back of your mind.
Really? So every day. That's so interesting. So every day you think about this at some point during the day?
Yeah, I mean, I love football that much that I still keep up with it, and of course, I think about it every day. It was my life at one point. Wake up, you're on a time schedule with everything. So yeah, I mean, that's the love for the game. It does that to me.
Yeah. We're showing there a photo of you in your uniform doing your thing.
That's high school.
Yeah. And I was just about to ask you, talk to me about, because I want people to have a sense of, this journey. Talk to me about your high school and college career. So let's start with high school. What was your high school career like?
I made varsity as a sophomore, playing in a 5A district where it's pretty big. You play against a lot of talent, like state champs like North Shore was in our district. It was making it at such a young age was pretty cool, but learning that you have the most talent on the team to really take it to the next level. You really hone in on that and train.
So you were really good.
Yeah. As a sophomore, I had about 500 yards and about 4 or 5 touchdowns.
What position did you play?
Receiver.
Okay, you were a wide receiver?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were a wide receiver in high school, and you were really good, so much so that you were able to play college football, right?
Yeah, a scholarship to a couple colleges, but I chose to go to a school close to home, a junior college.
Okay.
Junior college.
Okay. So you go to junior college, and what happens there? What's your football legacy story there? Does that go well?
That goes well. I didn't end up getting redshirted right out the gate. I played with great players there, and we moved on to our sophomore year. I didn't get redshirted either, and played with Cam Newton, who came along our sophomore year, and we won the national championship together.
Really?
Yes, sir.
So is this is a JUCO?
Yeah, in Texas.
Yes.
In Brenham, Texas.
Ah, so you are on the JUCO team with Cam Newton. You won the national championship. Okay, this is interesting. So I'm gonna take a slight diversion. Okay, so were the two of you close? Were you cool with each other?
Yeah, we used to train every day during the summer and throughout the season. He really took it to the next level with us, and looking back on it, in order for us to do what we did, we had to follow what steps he was trying to ingrain in us, and the hard work that he was bringing on from transferring from Florida, big D1, where he backed up Tim Tebow and legacy players like that.
Yeah. It's so interesting because we're going to come back to that point. because Cam Newton's story is not a direct story to the NFL. It's not a
No
direct
sir.
line. He had to
A lot
go
of
through
bumps, a
a
lot of
lot of
bumps in the
bumps and
road.
bruises. But tell me this: when you see him now, right? He played for with the Panthers and then the Patriots, and now I don't know who he
Yeah.
plays for now. I don't remember.
Panthers again.
Thank you so much. When you see him now, relative to where you are with your NFL dream, how does it make you
Yeah.
feel to see him in the NFL relative to where
Well,
you are?
that's pretty much how you think about it every day. That's what sticks in your head. Like after pretty much being with the guy every day and working hard with him, and then seeing where he is right now and everything. You think about it.
Okay, but okay,
Definitely,
I got it. I
he's
mean,
always in the headlines.
listen. Are you resentful? Are you angry? Are you
I'm
frustrated?
not resentful. I'm more just trying to let go of the ghost, the past. That's why I come to you
No,
for
you're
advice.
not, Boyo. I'm not receiving that. No, you're not. You're not. We're not. Let me tell you something,
Yeah.
Let me tell you something,
I got a little one. I got a family.
Boyo.
I got bigger dreams. I want him to be that. The bigger to surpass me, of course.
No. I agree with that. I'm not suggesting that you are resentful of him or jealous of him. I know you're not. What I'm saying,
No, definitely
no.
not.
Listen. What I'm saying is this:
Proud of him.
if I wanted to be in the NBA, which I did, don't laugh, but I wanted to be in the NBA,
Okay, doctor.
and I had a friend of mine who made it to the NBA. I would be happy for my friend, but I would be like, what in the world? Why can't I be there?
Yeah, for sure. You think that, but everybody grows different. But that's why I come to you.
Yeah, I'm just about to say,
Like,
wait a minute now.
to let that ghost live in the past.
Yeah.
Let that ghost go.
Yeah.
And move on. But yeah,
But Boyo, listen, a part of letting it go is acknowledging the truth of how it feels, and you're not dishonoring yourself, and you're certainly not dishonoring him by being honest about the fact that every now and then you feel some type of way. That's how the journey
for
to
sure.
the journey to let it go is acknowledging how I feel. But let me ask you this: I know that you played in the Canadian League, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a chance to play professional football in Canada. How did that go?
That was a very short career there too. That didn't end like I would like it to end, but I got that experience, and I still think about those times too. Seeing that team, move on and win them a ring there, and in that league was pretty special. Watching that happen too.
Yeah.
Years later after I played.
Yeah. Can you tell me?
Just resurfaces,
Yeah. Can you tell me why it didn't work out? Do you know?
Well, it was long story short, the legal, fell out, legal battles. Things didn't work out with my practice squad contract versus my contract to be on the team. And I felt I was better at times, and I felt I could have done better at times, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah. So let me ask you a hard question, okay? But I know you can handle it. And here it is. Why do you think you didn't make it to the NFL? Be radically honest.
There was a different type of I think there was a different type of mind frame when you're younger, and you're a little bit of everybody in your life has told you you're great. You've seen greatness through high school at such a stage, and played against great players and with great players, and then you don't make it, and it's just like you kind of resent it, at heart.
There you go.
You want to wish that was you. You wish it would have worked out.
No, that's good. That's good. Now you're doing it. Now you're doing it, because that is the road to healing. That is the road to getting over it, by acknowledging the truth of how you feel, and that's what you're doing right now. And what I heard you say, and I honor you for this, Boyo. I honor you for being able to say that when you had the dream originally, maybe you weren't as developed or as mentally ready or focused as you needed to be to accomplish what you were
Right.
reaching for. Did I get that right?
That's right.
No, I honor
It's
you.
totally right.
I totally honor you for that because I'm serious, man. I got no cap, as the kids say. I totally mean that because so many men right now would not have the courage to admit that the problem was in them, that they did not approach it the right way. And for you to be here
Yeah.
tonight to say, Dr. Sean, I'm on this show modeling for everybody trying to reach something, for them to know that if you're not totally committed in the right way with the right headspace, you're not going to get there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love that. I honor that. You know, I let me ask you this: when was the last time you cried?
Oh, well, not too long ago, I had a aunt who passed away.
Okay.
I had to go to the funeral like last Monday or something like that. So
Yeah.
I cried probably like yesterday, man.
Mm-hmm.
Today, man.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, for real.
Have you cried about this?
Um, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
I've cried about this whole thing before.
Good.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would say yes, because that is another part of cleansing the soul, right? It's cleansing the soul and getting the residue of the disappointment and resentment out. The only way to do that is with your tears. And
Wow.
I was really glad to hear you say that you did that. I have to take a break in about a minute, but let me ask you this: what has this journey taught you about you? This journey of trying to get to the NFL, not making it, getting to play Canadian football, and being where you. What has it taught you about you?
That life is crazy, but you know, it's I've grown a lot. Uh, the road ain't always how it plans out to be, but you know, I've grown a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I got to take this break, but here's what it should have taught you. All right, I'm going to help you a little bit. It should have taught you that disappointment won't destroy you. It should have taught
Definitely.
you that you are far more stronger than you were when you were 15 years old. And it should have taught you that you have something in you that wills you forward when the rest of you wants to sit there and give up. And it should have taught you that you can cry and not die. And it should have taught you that sometimes where you want to be may not be where you need to be. We're going to talk about that last statement when we come back, because I promise you there are a lot of people dreaming about something and life's not heading in that direction. And sometimes we have to accept the possibility that that we're not the problem. Maybe the dream is the problem. I'll explain it when we come back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Listen. What do you do when the dream won't let you go? But you are not being able to reach the dream that you have. Boyo's here. Boyo, welcome back, man.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed talking to you. I really have, because I think you represent so many people who really are at a crossroads, right? At a crossroad emotionally and psychologically in terms of what they're going to do with their lives. It's amazing to me, and I say this to you guys all the time, that life changes without your permission, and it'll take you places you never thought you'd end up, right? And the question is, are you going to be a willow or an oak? An oak tree stands in the wind, and the wind is strong, so that because it won't bend, it breaks. But the willow bends, and because it bends, it survives. Boyo, let me ask you this question, man. You ready for this? Are you
Yeah.
open to the possibility that football, while it was a passion and while it was something you were good at, are you open to the possibility that it wasn't your destiny, that it wasn't what you were born to do?
That's right. I'm open to that.
You're open to that. You're open to that. So when you talk about sort of moving on and getting on with your life, what's the hardest part of doing that? What seems to be preventing you from doing that in a way that you would like?
Um, just I guess being in love with the game still, watching it a lot, you know, keeping up with it. It consumes my life still, like fantasy football. I get all the updates, you know, and just keep up with it through the news, and that's all I do.
Well, listen, let me say something to you. First, let me affirm you with this. you have done something that most people will never do. The only people who have out sort of done you are people who are in the NFL. But you play professional football. And there are a lot of people watching right now who love sports and we love football, but we'll never play it at the level that you did. So I don't want you to sort of undermine or poo-poo or think less of what you actually accomplished, because you were a professional football player, sir. And most of the people you're playing fantasy football with will never be good enough, never be athletic enough to accomplish what you accomplished. And what I want to suggest to you tonight is this, that it's good to be in love with the game. It's good to still be in love with the game. But now it's time for you to find a different way to be in love with it. You don't have to walk away from it. Life may be inviting you to relate to the game differently, which is what all professional athletes have to do after a certain time, right? Even Tom Brady at some point is going to have to stop playing, right?
That's right.
And he's going to go into the booth. You heard about all the money he's going to make. Right. But my point is, LeBron James in a few years, Chris Paul in a few years, they all are going to have a different relationship with the game, because no matter whether your journey ended after college or after the Canadian Football League or after 20 years in the league, at some point the journey ends. And Cam Newton is going to be exactly where you are one day, trying to figure out how to have a relationship with a game that he can't play anymore. So in a lot of ways, Cam is going to need you. You follow what I'm saying? He's going to need you because you're already on the journey. So here's what I want to say to you. Right now on the spot, tell me some ways that you can still be connected to football but not as a player that work for you.
I've looked into being a manager, maybe management, kind of an agent. There's a marketing specialist. There's sideline, all types of help that's needed on the sideline. There's all type of booster donation help for newer leagues. I'm sure you heard of the Rocks League, who he just bought with Vince McMahon, I believe, the WWE owner. It's just those are just a couple of ways.
You know what's ironic about this conversation, and I no cap as the kids say, is 100% true. I'm actually friends with Cam Newton's agent. He's a Morehouse man, and I've known him for about 8-10 years. Okay, McMorris is his last name.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so we know each other through Al Sharpton and blah 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 blah. So it's ironic that you say that maybe being an agent is something that you want to do, and I happen to know. I'm friends with the agent of a guy that it's a 360 situation. I'm friends with the agent of the guy that used to play with. But I like the notion of you really considering that, because you may discover, Boyo, that your real gift is off the field. Right game, wrong position. Right game, wrong position. That you are more gifted to do something that relates to the game, but not playing the game. And let me ask you to consider this for a moment. It's one thing to have a really good career, right? And to do well and make some money. But what if you were born not to have an NFL career as a player, but to be a part of the NFL family and to change lives, to have an indelible impact, and to make more money as an executive or an agent or someone with the team than you ever could have made as a player? Would that make the journey worth it?
That would. That's crazy to even think about.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's what I'm inviting you to believe. I'm inviting you to believe that your creator knows the journey better than you do. And you need to trust him. Trust him to know that he will plug you in where you need to be. So let me ask you this, and I got to let you go. Where do you want to be 3 years from now? What's the vision for 3 years from now?
Oh, well, for sure, I'd like to be, set, somewhere in a career like that. But working towards it, still working my 9 to 5, take care of my family, and doing my side clothing business on the side, just elevating it a little bit.
Okay, you know how they say God can dream a bigger dream for you than you can dream for yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm on this show. I'm going to say Sean can dream a bigger dream for you than you can dream for yourself. All right, because I'm going to give you the 3-year plan. I don't like your 3-year plan. Your 3-year
Okay,
plan
Sean.
is not good enough. Okay, all right. I'm gonna dream. So 3 years from now, here's what Boyo's going to be doing. All right, 3 years from now, you're going to have all your businesses, all your clothing, all that's going to be intact. All right, but 3 years from now, you're going to have already made a decision about whether or not you want to be an executive or whether or not you want to be an agent. And 3 years
Mm.
from now, you're going to be fully entrenched in that, doing that work and building your business. 3 years from now, you're going to be able to attend any NFL game you want to attend. You're going to be able to go to any game and talk to any player you want to talk to 3 years from now because you have built that kind of reputation with that kind of hard work. 3 years from now, you're going to take the passion you have for the game, for playing the game, and turn it into the passion you have to support people who play the game that you always wanted to play. All right? 3 years from now, you are not going to need to ask anybody what you need to be doing 3 years from now because you're going to be on the path and doing it. All right? That's
That's
your
good.
3-year vision. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Listen, and the next time you see, I'm gonna take this break in a second, but the next time you see Cam Newton on TV, or the next time you hear, because I heard my producer told me that you were watching, I think the,
Yeah.
the Queens, right? And they started talking about Cam Newton, and you felt triggered, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, and then I heard that you said I got to get on and talk to Dr. Sean so that he could inspire me. And I really appreciate, first of all, you watching the network and watching the show. So thank you for that. But the next time you see Cam and all of that stuff, here's what I want you to feel. I want you to feel that your journey is good enough for you, and that where you're going and the road that you take, Cam Newton couldn't travel. That where you're going and what you're about to do, only you could do that. And that when you practice radical acceptance, you don't resent what didn't happen because you're too grateful for all the things that did happen. You follow what I'm saying?
Amen.
Yeah, yeah. I want you to operate in gratitude, son. I don't want you to operate in resentment. I want you to be grateful that no matter what mistake you made along the way, it didn't kill you, it didn't destroy you, you're not in jail, and you're healthy enough to have a future 3 years from now.
Amen.
He said, amen.
Yeah, man. Dr. Sean be hating you.
Yeah, man, listen, come back and see me sometime. I enjoyed talking to you.
I appreciate you, doctor.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. When we come back, I'm going to wrap this up with you. I got some more thoughts, but I like Boyo. We're right back right after this. Boyo. Welcome back, everybody. I enjoyed talking to Boyo, and I'll tell you why, because I think a lot of people often have to deal with what he's had to deal with is you wanted a certain thing and you wanted it so bad and you worked for it so bad only to discover that it's not what life had planned for you. One of the powerful things that he said was that he was able to admit the fact that when he was chasing it, he was not doing it with his whole heart or with his whole mind. And sometimes you just have to admit that when you should have been something that would have made you qualified for the thing that you want, you weren't ready for it. And now we have to learn the lessons and apply the knowledge that we've learned to the thing that we're doing now. I think if he does that, he'll be all right. You see, the lesson for him is the next time you go after something, go after it with all your strength and all your might. And make sure your mind is as dedicated to it as your heart and the rest of your body, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes when we're young, we're not as focused as we need to be. Sometimes when we're older, we're not as focused as we need to be. But life is about to give him another chance. It's about to give you one too. Do it right this time. Learn the lessons and apply the lessons you've learned. All right, Hailey, let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. Play the bumper. You guys always send me great videos, and I appreciate the ones that you send. Let's take a look at this one.
Hi, Dr. Sean. My name is Julia Coleman. I am from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I recently just moved to a new city, and I decided, hey, I want to start dating again. I'm a single mother. I'm 35, about to be 36. The issue is I have 3 kids, twins that are 16, and a younger one who is 12. When is a good time to introduce someone that I'm dating to my kids? I don't want to do it too early, but I also don't want to do it too late. So when is a good time to do that?
Great question. Thank you for that. So I have an interesting answer. I think that before you introduce your children to someone, you might want to introduce your children to the concept of you being with someone. Now, you're not going to them to get approval, because kids don't have the right and they don't get a veto or a vote. But you do want to respect their feelings and respect your relationship by letting them know that you want to engage in having a private romantic life. And you're letting them know. You want to hear what they have to say and their thoughts, and then get a sense of when they might be ready, right? Well, even ask them. So when do you guys think would be a good time after we've gone? And just see what they say. They may want to meet the person right away because they may want to protect you, right? Or they may say, don't even bring so-and-so or anybody around for at least however many months. I think the conversation needs to happen before you even, begin to get out there, because it could be unsettling for them. Even though they're teenagers, the older ones are. Kids, are, especially of their mom, they're very protective of their mom, very protective of making sure that you're okay. Have that conversation with them. And then to answer your question directly, it really depends on the kid. It really depends on the maturity of the kid. If the kid is mature and they're not, sort of festering in the relationship that didn't work, or they have needs that are really rooted in sort of a selfish, childish kind of way. If they're not that, then you might be able to do it sooner, because they can handle it, they can process it. It also depends on the relationship you have with your children. If you guys talk a lot, you share a lot, there's great communication. But if you have a lot of unspoken things, unresolved issues, then that'll change the dynamic, because then you introducing somebody else into the situation is going to bring up other things for them, unresolved questions they may have from the last relationship you had, or the one that you may have had with their father. You follow what I'm saying? So it's not a one size fit all. It depends on the kid. It depends on the relationship you have with the kid. It depends on what you have said to them prior to even starting to date. But I would recommend, just to be clear, that you never introduce your children to somebody that you've only been dating for a couple of months. Like if it's less than 2 or 3 months, the kids don't need to meet that person, because it usually takes about 2 or 3 months for you to decide if this is going anywhere, especially nowadays. We meet most people online or through our phones, and then once you meet them, you end up not liking them. So if it's less than 2 or 3 months, I would say don't even introduce them to the children yet. But after that, it depends on, again, the kid, the relationship you have with the kid, and the kind of relationship you're building with the person that you're falling in love with. All of those variables play a part in being able to determine when to do it. But I think as a rule of thumb, if it's less than 2 or 3 months, keep it separate. And in the meantime, have the conversation with your children about you dating again, so they're not blindsided and they're emotionally prepared for you to be able to one day introduce somebody. I think we introduce people without preparing the children to be introduced. We just think if we bring the person in. You got to prepare the kids for the introduction as much as you have to prepare the person you're trying to introduce them to. Okay? That was good advice. Yes, I'm good at this job, I think. Anyway, I think I got to take a break. Do I have time to do this? I'm going to do this one real fast. Someone DM'd me. I've been dating a man for 6 months. I assumed that we were dating exclusively, but he took me to an outing for his family and introduced me as his best friend. I don't want to ruin the night. I didn't want to ruin the night, rather. So I did not confront him. Should I have a conversation with him about our status, or is it time for me to date other men? Woo! That's something, right? You think you're exclusively dating someone and then he introduced you to the family as his best friend? I'm going to leave you with suspense and answer that right after the break. Welcome back, everybody. So did you get that last question before I took my break? So apparently the young lady was dating a man and she thought they were in an exclusive relationship. They went to a family gathering, and instead of introducing her as his girlfriend, he introduced her as his best friend. And we all talked about this during the break here in the studio, and we all agree that something ain't right. And we all agree that the young lady, that you are being disrespected, okay? In fact, some of us think, and I happen to agree, that there's another woman around somewhere, an ex or somebody's around, which prevents him from being able to introduce you at the level you deserve to be introduced. Because apparently, in my sneaky suspicion is his family knows somebody else to be the girlfriend, and it ain't you. And you want to know if you should confront him or whether or not you should just move on? I quite honestly, I think you ought to do both. I don't think you should let people just disrespect you and hide you. Because listen. One of the directors around here, Nicole, said something that I thought was really good. I asked her, could I borrow it? She said, how you gonna introduce a woman that you are dating and sleeping with as your best friend? Because apparently y'all are doing things that most best friends don't do. Oh, that's so good. I wish I had thought of it. I'm just saying, you ought to do both. Don't let nobody hide you and tuck you away. You can't be anybody's secret. Okay? Don't do it. Don't put yourself in that position to be anybody's secret. And I think he ought to know that he's not getting away with it. And I think you should walk away. Because anybody that will do that to you will do worse than that to you. All right? He's obviously not being honest about something, and he's able to traffic in duplicity by convincing you that you're in an exclusive mutual relationship and then telling his family that you're just best friends. That's not acceptable. And you shouldn't want to be with somebody who would put you in that position. So I think you ought to let them know that this ain't going no further. I'm not willing to be your little secret. I don't know who you got around your family, but whoever they are, I hope they really like you because they can have you. And then you move on and spend your time with someone who is proud to be able to be with you and they love the idea of showing you to the people that they care about. Don't waste your time with someone who is not proud of the time that they spend with you. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself, because then you're not a victim, you're a volunteer. If you spend another day trying to convince him to make you important and to make you a part of his family, then you have already given in to the trap, the plan, and all of that. End this right now. Save yourself. You hear me? Save yourself. All right, let's do another video. Sent in by Alex. Let's take a look at it.
Hey, Dr. Sean. I'm Alex. I have a question. What is the best way to start and end a day to make sure that it's productive?
Well, I don't think there's one answer for that. I think that the best way to start a day to make sure that it's productive is to make sure that you're clear about what you're trying to accomplish in the day. And then to understand that productivity doesn't just happen when you are literally sort of building or doing things. You can be productive while you're sitting still because you're generating the kind of self-care and concentration and meditation and centering that you need to be productive at things that require actual accomplishment and activity. I think the best way to be able to understand it is to really focus in on what is this day trying to give you. And at the end of the day, to make sure whether or not you have received what the day was trying to offer you rather, I should say. You see, I think that every day comes with its own mercy, and every day comes with its own lesson, and every day comes with its own inherent goodness, and every day comes with its own trial. And if you are able to catalog what each of those have been each day, then that's a productive day. It's a day that you understand the merits and the content of what it is you've been able to ascribe and to do and to build. See, most people are mindless about their day. They just wake up in the morning and they go to work and they drive unconsciously and they do the job and then they eating something and then they drive home and they're unconscious about it. The most productive day is an intentional day. It's a day where you do what you meant to do. It's a day where you said what you meant to say. It's a day where you love the people you intended to love and you ignored the things you intended to ignore. If your intention and your action and the culmination of your time all line up, you've had a hell of a day. All right, someone emailed me this. I married a pastor, but I am not the traditional pastor's wife. My husband asked me to host a women's luncheon for our congregation. I didn't think it would be a big deal to serve alcohol and have a hip hop music DJ. Apparently that was a mistake, and now people are talking about me. Should I apologize to the church members or just continue to be my authentic self? Oh, it's an interesting question. All right, well, I think you should be both. You should do both, rather. I think that, when you marry a pastor or you marry someone who's in a position, before you do it, you should know more about the position you're marrying into. You should know more about the culture of the person that you're marrying into. And you should have known before you even married them, let alone hosted a luncheon, let alone had alcohol and hip hop at a church function, the culture you were becoming a part of. And on some level, you've offended that culture. It wasn't what you meant to do, But there's nothing wrong with telling people you're sorry. There's nothing wrong with saying that's not what I intended to do. There's nothing wrong with saying I didn't mean any harm. And there's also nothing wrong with saying, as you say that, and you guys should also know that I'm not a traditional sort of pastor's wife, that I just don't move by those rhythms, and I don't and will not drown under those or suffocate under those expectations. I think that before you talk to the church, you should probably talk to your husband and make sure that he understands and he's clear and that you guys are okay. And you should apologize to him, not because you were wrong, just because you did something unaware. You see, we don't always apologize when we're wrong. We also apologize when we have done something and we were clueless about what the consequences would be. That doesn't make you wrong. It just means that you understand the consequences. So I'm saying to you, continue to be your authentic self, but be clear about who you married and what it's going to take to stay married to them. And then be honest about the fact that, this didn't go right. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you, Boyo, for being a part of the conversation. Listen, if your dream doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that your life won't. You keep going, okay? Believe in yourself, and y'all be good to each other, because I promise you, if nobody else does, I love you. And I mean that. How about that?